Hey guys. So let's hope my camera does not disconnect. It's actually slightly precariously hooked up. So it looks great right now, but let's hope nothing happens to it. I really should move my computer tower, but I have not yet done that. I have my coffee here, and I thought I would. I am very much enjoying starting out our live streams with like a 1 hour discussion, just chatting about stuff. So I did kind of put in the chat just now if you guys had any questions. So please bring your questions in. I'll see how many I get to, but this way we can just have like just start out with something to talk about, you know? So, for those of you who are joining for the first time, these live streams are really just to hang out with you, to provide background noise, be a background voice. I can be a different voice than you've probably been hearing over the last couple weeks, especially if your area has a shelter in place order. So my area does, and so yeah, we're pretty like I'm getting used to it, but I do know that a lot of people are going stir crazy. So I know that for me, one of the best ways to get myself to not go crazy is to have other voices, talking about something in the background. So for me, I like this is why I have listened to every single Hot Ones episode. Um, I also listen to and watch the more Wong Fu lunch breaks. So yeah, I wanted to provide something similar for you guys, but maybe centered more around classical music and the flute. So yeah, that's what the purpose of these live streams are. It's just hanging out with you, and obviously, since I do play the flute, I am noticing that it is good to kind of devote, a large chunk of the live streams to sight reading. But I do have a limit on how tired I get, so I can only go for so long. And today, especially, I have to be careful to not go crazy, like too crazy with the sight reading, because I still need to practice later this evening, or early evening. So I will be live streaming from now until about 2 hours and for I think as of now 12 minutes from now, and then I'm going to be taking a little break before I teach a lesson, and after I teach that lesson I will be hopping onto Twitch for a practice live stream. So if you guys want to see more of me today, I will be online, but just not on YouTube. I'll be on Twitch. So head on over there, twitch.tv/justanotherflautist. So I swear I have just another flutist too, but I don't have the password, and I think the password is probably lost forever because I got that account when it was not owned by Twitch. It was owned by justin.tv. So anyway, there you guys go. That is the kind of like introduction. I realized that on Monday I didn't do a proper introduction as to what these live streams are for. So I decided that because some people who joined on Monday did not see my live streams from the week before. So some people were like, wait, what are you doing? So this is me telling you this is what I'm doing. I'm just keeping you company. That's all. So let's see who's here now. Hey, Nathan, Christopher, you're practicing the chaminade. Fantastic. Hey, David, Magic Monkichi, Michael, Blue Diamonds, Hans, Israel, Blue Stingray, Natalia, Jeff, hello, Elrain, Caitlin, Gerardo, I don't think I've seen your name in previous streams, so I'm guessing this might be the first time you're saying hello in the chat. So hello, unless I missed you before, and if so, I'm very sorry. Hey, Oriana. Hey, Melanie. Just a lot of trouble. Hello, Annabelle. Hello. Who else is here? So transit nerd. I like it. So let's see. Alistair, hello. Okay, so I think that's at least that's whoever said hello in the chat. If you are a lurker, say hello to you as well. I acknowledge your presence. Thank you so much for watching. I am a lurker myself, so I typically, if I join into a live chat, like a live stream that is, I never join the live chat. I totally get it, so don't feel any pressure. Feel free to just listen and relax. All right, so let's take our first question. So Natalia here is asking, how do you stay motivated to practice all the time? I'm currently working on grade 8 flute and I've lost all motivation to practice. So right now, I think you have to be, like, in this current time, I think you have to be a little bit forgiving of yourself. It's kind of a rough time right now. So even though, yes, some people are having the time of their lives practicing away, and you know, coping well with what's going on in the world right now with practicing instead, not everyone works like that. So you may be the type of person where practicing in this current time of crisis is rough. You know, so I'm not sure how old you are, but I don't think it really matters. But it's more so that, like, if you, you know, if you're an adult and you have a job, and your job, you know, is very unstable right now, it's very understandable to lose your motivation to practice. And if you are in school, in high schools, just actually even lower than that now, I've heard of, like, elementary schools too are now also doing online schooling, which is very, very different from normal schooling. Everyone's schedule is completely upset. Everyone's routine has been completely upset. So right now, allow yourself a little bit more time to adjust to the current new normal. We don't know how long this new normal is going to last, but you know, allow yourself the time to adjust to the weird new normal, you know, and it's okay that in this time you've lost motivation to practice. Now, let's say you do want to practice. At this point, it's not about motivation. Motivation is a very fleeting thing. It's a very emotion based sentiment. So the two things that I always tell people is, one, you need to put yourself in a productive, creative mindset. So you need to do that one thing that, you know, makes you feel inspired. So for me, it's if I take some time to myself in the morning for about an hour. So the best way to do this for me is to go on a walk, because that is my alone time. That's where I can think about things. That's where I can reflect on things. That's where I will listen to podcasts and get inspired. And after that 1 hour, I have a lot of ideas about what I want to do that day, how I want to go about doing it. I start visualizing my day because I look at my schedule first thing in the morning to see what I'm doing. And I imagine my day through you know, like, visualize how I'm going to work through the day. And that makes me feel more productive. Now, does it motivate me? I'm not sure if motivate is the right word. It's more that I feel like I'm in game mode. You know what I mean? Like, game on. We're going to do this, you know? Like, that's more how I feel. And I feel that is more like you can replicate that feeling if you do that one thing that puts you in that kind of more productive mindset. So for some people, it's like they have to make their bed in the morning. For some people, they have to organize their room in the morning. Just that kind of repetitive motion helps them kind of like figure out how they're going to approach that day. Like, it's that thing you do, it's that routine that you do every morning that just kind of like puts you in a good mindset. So, and also maybe some people have to take a shower for like 15, 20 minutes, just waking up, like for everyone, that thing is a little bit different, and you need to find out what that is for you. Then the second thing is organizing your time. So you do need to put it in your in Google Calendar or something like that, some sort of calendar app. Put it in every single little thing that you're doing that day. Make sure you don't overload yourself. Make sure it's feasible what you want to do. And then you can kind of just, as you go down the day, you just kind of do whatever it is that you told yourself you're going to do within that hour, but the thing is, you won't want to do those things if you're not in a productive mindset. So, you can organize and schedule your practice sessions all you want, but if you're not in a productive mindset, you're not going to do it. So the two have to go hand in hand. And that is, in my opinion, and at least in my experience, the best way so far that I have found to actually exercise discipline. Right? You know how a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's not about motivation, it's about discipline. I used to say this myself too, but I think I never defined for myself what discipline means. And so for me, I think I've now defined that discipline means these two things. Is I have to stay disciplined to keep putting myself, doing that thing, that self-care thing that helps put me in a productive mindset. And because I'm in a productive mindset, it'll be much easier for me to actually schedule my time wisely and go and follow through with the schedule. So I hope that helps you out, Natalia. Hans wants a topic for your next vlog. Well, here's how I think of it. What do I want to see someone else talking about their lives? Maybe other people want to know about that same thing about your life. That's how I answer that question. So I know it's kind of vague, but that's how I kind of ask myself. How do you get a non-airy sound on your low notes? So this is very particular to the player. Each flutist will have a slightly different reason as to why their low notes are airy. But if you want sort of an overreaching possible generalized reason as to why it might be airy, it could be that you're starting the airstream too far back. You might be using what I call, when you blow into your hands and you blow warm air like that. You're starting the air really far back in your mouth when you do that. And we tend to instinctively do this for low notes. It just feels natural to us, but it is counterproductive. So you actually want to blow with more cool air on low notes, kind of starting from the front. Oops, got to make sure that this thing is muted. Give me a sec here to mute this. But yeah, so I hope that makes sense to you guys. That is a very generalized assumption that maybe that might be happening to you. So cool air, warm air playing. Warm air is better for high notes. Cool air is better for lower notes. And that's a very general, common denominator amongst all flutes. But the way that they are manifested on each flute does feel a tiny bit different. So it's hard to say, is what I'm saying. There's no one formula to make you sound non-airy. You kind of have to figure it out. Somewhat by yourself, somewhat with your teacher. It kind of has to be sort of you both have to work together, Yeah. Blue is asking me how my day has been. Thank you. Blue Stingray, that is. Great. I taught all morning, had a nice lunch break, and made some coffee, and now I'm talking with you guys. So it's been lovely. It's been really lovely. Yeah, nothing crazy today, so I'm feeling good. Yeah. Oriana, you downloaded Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I know. See, right? Great recommendation. If you can't get the Animal Crossing New Horizons, because right now the Switch is sold out everywhere. If you can't get that, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is a great starter into the Animal Crossing world because you can just get it on your phone, you know? It's fantastic. El Rain, you're learning goldsmithing. My goodness. Israel is asking me if I would play in a flute orchestra. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that because I enjoy more diversity in timbres, so like instrument timbres. So yeah, I've played in flute choirs before, and that was really, really fun. There are certain things that only flute choirs can play to make them sound a certain way. So I do enjoy stuff like that. That's good. Like specialized stuff for flute choirs always sound really cool. But yeah, like if it was just flute all day, every day, like just flute around me all day, every day, I think I would go crazy. I think I would. What's the method for figuring out the rhythm for Bach's Prelude in C? I don't know. What I'm guessing, Blue Diamonds, is that you're probably thinking of it, you're accidentally thinking of it in a, like your brain wants to think of it in a different meter or a different, like a different rhythmic feel than what is actually happening, and you're probably constantly fighting it. That's what I'm guessing from how you're asking the question. This is a very typical question that comes from my students too. And usually what happens is like they try to tell me like, oh, hey, it's just, how do you figure this out? And I'm always like, well, the thing is I have to first figure out how you're even hearing it or how you're seeing it first, right? Because every person thinks to themselves, okay, what is the way to figure this out? But what's actually happening is you have a subconscious preconceived notion of what it should be. And as the teacher, I need to know what that preconceived notion is. Therefore, I would have to hear the student play first, and then I can kind of, you know, note down what symptoms I hear in their playing, and then we can try things out. So, yeah. Would I like to play contrabass flute? Oh, yes, of course. That sounds so fun. I've never had the chance to, but it would be hilariously fun. Mostly hilarious because I think it would be so funny to watch me try to learn how to play the contrabass flute. EDR, hello, how are you doing? Have I thought about playing for any of those online groups? So you're part of the Nova Scotia Ultimate Kitchen Party group, and they're doing watch parties of music on Facebook to help with the social side. That is really cute. Like, that sounds cute. I love that. So I will be participating soon in one of those videos that, you know, are like basically everyone's at home doing their own part, and then someone puts together all the videos. I will be, so spoiler alert, I will be part of one soon, but soon, not yet. All right. Are my lessons free? How do you think I'm making income, man? No, they're not free. I'm not sure how you think I make a living if I let my lessons be free. What is my favorite solo piece with no accompaniment? Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, the one that comes to mind, the first thing would be probably Debussy's Syrinx, because at least I have a lot of nostalgia with that one, because that was the piece that I think really awoke the thought of, like, I can really make the flute sound like different things in the same piece. So like I can play with like a lot of body to the sound, but then I can morph that into this really thin sound. So that yeah, that piece for me, I think for a lot of nostalgic reasons, would be probably my favorite solo piece. Yeah. Melanie, you're on your 3rd hour of organizing sheet music. Go you! Go you! It took me a long time to organize that stuff behind me, so I feel you on that. Just a lot of trouble. The name is Kane, if that's easier. I'll try to remember. If I don't remember, I'm just going to keep calling you Just a Lot of Trouble. What flute will I be playing on today? The same one as last time on Monday, the Mateki. So, which, by the way, I ended up showing my Twitch peeps the one little key that is kind of interesting on this flute. So since you asked what flute we're playing on, I'm just going to show you real quick. So I'm just going to hold this up, and hopefully this thing will be okay with me poking around at it. But I'm going to show you with my second camera what it looks like. But I've been wanting to show you guys for a while. So this is my, whoops, give me a second to focus this down. There we go. So do you guys see this interesting key? Oh, sorry. There we go. So you guys see this interesting key? Look at that. Isn't that wild? So it's not very clear what happened to this key. So this key, like, yeah, it's not very clear what happened to this. The guess is, it's very rough. And the guess is that the previous owner of this flute had very acidic sweat. And then, so it actually ate through the top layer of silver on this. You see how it's completely eaten through? So the question that everybody wonders about is why aren't the other keys the same, right? This one and this one. But for some reason, this one in particular was something clearly literally ate through the silver. So yeah, guys, still don't know what's going on with there. One day, if I get an overhaul on this flute, I'm gonna, ask what can be done about this key. I'm not sure that these keys are even available anymore because this flute is so old. It's actually older than me. But yeah, this is a Mateki. So you guys can see here, if I can find where the camera is there. So Mateki. It's a very, very, very old flute. As you can tell, it definitely needs an overhaul. Yeah, so closed hole, C-foot joint. So it's a C, this is one of the reasons why I was able to get this flute, is the fact that it's a combination of C-foot and closed hole. It's still not very highly sought after, this combination right now, in a fully silver flute. So I was able to get it at a very, 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 very low price. That is, my parents were able to get it at a very low price when I was young. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's the flute I'm on today. And it's because my main flute is in repair right now. I believe it is probably actively being repaired on right now. Yeah. So let's see. Caitlin, you had your first online flute lesson yesterday. It was so different. Yes, indeed it is. It is, isn't it? And like, I think, like, I'm used to it, so I understand what it's like, but it is very different. I do have to agree. Longest piece I've ever played. Okay, the Bach B minor sonata is very long. I think it's like 20 something minutes long, something like that. I know Trockne Blumen is very long too. That one is ridiculously long. Um, hmm. I'm trying to think of like big concertos and stuff like that. But that would be for flute solo pieces, would be something along the lines of the Bach B minor or the Trockne Blumen. I feel like the Trockne Blumen is really long. I feel like it is. Or at least my memory of it is that it's super long. Um, but in terms of like if you include orchestra pieces, maybe um, Rachmaninoff is very long. What else is long? There's definitely I have sat through orchestra like symphonies that were upwards of like 30 to 45 minutes long. Yeah, those take a lot out of you, even though you're not literally playing through the whole thing. But yeah, those take a lot out of you. Do I have any advice on how to not get tired after practicing for too long? Well, you can't push yourself because playing the flute is a physical thing. So you have to treat it like a physical exercise. In the same way that, you know, if you just started working out, you can't do more than like 20 minutes at a time. You can't do more than 20 minutes at a time until your body gets used to it. So like maybe after 2 weeks, you'll notice that you can easily do 30 minutes instead. Maybe 2-3 weeks after that, you're like, maybe I could do 45 minutes, but you have to be consistent about it, right? So it's like, you know, when you work out, like a 50-minute long workout session is pretty darn long already, right? Like most people do average of about an hour before they take a break, right? And also depending on your physical state, your physical well-being, if you have any issues that you need to deal with, maybe some people can only work out for half an hour at a time before they have to take a 5 to 10 minute break and then come back. When you're playing the flute, it's the same thing. You actually should not be playing the flute like straight with no break for like over an hour. Like you really shouldn't. That's not good for you. At the very least, you should take a 5 to 10 minute break every hour. At the very least. Like that's bare minimum taking a break, you know? So doing 50 minutes and then taking like a 5 to 10 minute break is totally fine. Like I don't think that you are like, you don't have to force yourself to go to play straight longer than that. You really don't have to. Because even if, say, you were going to be playing for a solo recital that is about an hour long, typically within that hour, you're taking an intermission that's like 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. So even concerts have breaks built into them, you know? So like you won't be playing for an hour straight. You know, really in any circumstance other than if you're doing like a solo gig, you know, playing, you know, dinner music and for some reason you're the only instrumentalist, so you have to play the entire time. The thing is, people would understand if you need to take a 5 to 10 minute break in between, you know, like every hour or so. It's totally okay and normal to take breaks. Please take breaks. Yeah. Shin, you want to retire when you grow up. Oh, Shin, I love you. What am I drinking today? I'm drinking coffee. So it's just coffee, French press coffee with almond milk. That's it. Yep. What is my favorite flute concerto? Oh, it would be the Golden Flute Concerto by Chen Yi. Crazy, ridiculous, beautiful, and nuts at the same time. Yeah, that would be my favorite. Absolutely. I think it's because that one mixes a lot of kind of Chinese elements with Western elements. And I just felt like it was a great representation of a person like me, you know? And you're currently starting the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto on the flute. Oh my goodness, Rachel. Go you. Yeah, I love it. Aha, see, just a lot of trouble is mentioning play for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break. Yep. You got to take breaks, man. Like, if it doesn't make sense to do it while working out, don't do it on the flute. Like, you want to make that comparison, right? Of like how it feels to work out your body and then working out on an instrument. You know, apply the same precautions that you would for working out on an instrument. Yeah. Hey Jane, hey Alfredo. World of Second Flute and Clarinet. Also, hello Libra. So World of Second Flute and Clarinet, you have a change of major performance stream audition and you're really nervous. Oh wow, you have to stream your audition. I suppose, yeah. Nowadays you have to. Yeah. Can I sight read your audition and talk through it? Wow. I don't know if I should do that. I mean, I guess like if you send me, you know, if we add it to our sight reading list, like I could definitely read through, you know, but I do feel a little bit iffy about, like literally taking your audition material, to do that. So I have to be honest, I feel a little bit iffy about doing that. But yeah, like I still hope that everything I talk about and show you here still helps. But that almost feels a little bit like doing your homework for you, you know? So sorry. I'm sorry that I feel that way, but I feel a little bit iffy about that. Shenandoah. You found that on your bamboo flute you need support and a good embouchure. Yeah, I would say that that's pretty like typical of any flute that you come across. Any flute you come across will sound better with those two things. So it's a pretty good thing to get trained on. Yeah. Hey, AI Osin. Not sure how to say your name. I think it's AIO, right? SSON. Do I know the piece, the Mignon Overture? I think I know what you're saying. Is that the one with, is that the one written by Tufnell, right? Yeah, let me see. Magic Monkichi, when you play low notes, you think high note. When you play high notes, you think low. Yeah. What you're doing is you're forcing your mouth to do the counterintuitive thing. Good on you, Magic Monkichi. That's a great way of thinking of it. Air direction helps with lower notes, also correct. Kind of. It depends on the flute. That's what I found out from trying a lot of flutes. Also, hello, Jake. Yeah, it depends on the flute because not all flutes behave the same way. And not all flutes want you to behave the same way on it. So, yeah, the whole air direction thing is a lot more complicated than I think most people realize. But it's a great starting point to introduce people to the idea of being flexible, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's how I would put it. Shenandoah, you probably having trouble with tonguing due to your braces. Pulling your bite back a couple of millimeters. Yeah, it would essentially change where you're tonguing. That's probably the issue there. So quick symptoms for you is just if you're tonguing too far forward, you'll sound like you're kind of spitting into the flute, and it sounds really forced. And the depth of, like, in terms of the depth of sound that you normally can get out of the flute, you probably would only get half of that out. So it sounds really thin and harsh. So that's if you're tonguing too far forward. If you're tonguing too far back, it tends to sound really swallowed, and like there's a delay between your tongue and the sound coming out. Sometimes this also comes out sounding like a really hard thump. Like it's not harsh, it's a hard thump. Yeah. So like that's how you know if your tongue is too far back. So if you like listen for those symptoms, you can probably start to figure out where your tongue, you know, like the new position for your tongue. How do I sync my audio to video without much latency? Oh, lots of tests. Lots of tests, Scott. Are you asking about OBS, my open broadcast software thing, right? So what you do is, so I've inputted my mic as into the scene, right? You go to the little gear setting icon next, like underneath on the audio mixer part, and you go to advanced audio properties, and then you can actually set your audio to sync later. So after a few tests, I realized that my video is coming in at a latency, right? And the latencyy is approximately for my camera, approximately 225 milliseconds, I believe it is. So you can set that. And for each camera, it's going to be a little bit different. So you have to kind of run a few tests, do a few clapping tests, and figure it out that way. So I knew that mine was somewhere between 200 to 250. Did tests in that range, and then, 225 looked the best. So that's how I did that. You can look up plenty of tutorials online how to do it. That's how I learned, but yeah. Jeff. I love you. You want me to play Syrinx for you guys? Well, let me add it to the list. I do have a list going, so let me just add that real quick. So I think last time I did Mercadante, I don't think I got to the Anderson last time. So probably today we'll end up starting with that. But let me add it at the bottom. So Syrinx. Okay, I added it. Have I been thinking about getting the Nagahara Mini? I have one. It's in COA right now, like for maintenance. I've had it for a while now. I just haven't made a video about it because do you guys remember that time that I made that video about the Dijao? I never talked about it openly here, but here we are. So let's talk about it. I got a lot of backlash for that, guys. I don't know if you guys know. I got a lot of backlash for choosing that piccolo, even though it was my personal choice and it was my personal budget that we were working with at that point. So I hadn't saved up as much as I would have liked yet at that point. And so I wanted to hold off buying the Nagahara Mini. So anyway, and ever since that time, I have been very, very hesitant to make any sort of review-like video or, walking through my personal choices and my personal decisions for my personal instruments. I have avoided doing that because, quite honestly, it hurt a lot to see the backlash of people hating my personal decision. So yeah, I got a lot of hate for it. So I decided that, normally I have much thicker skin. And why was I reacting so poorly to all this hate on my decision? I realized was because these instruments are that personal to me. They really are a part of me, and having people hate on my decision to buy these instruments for myself is the same thing as people pointing out something really ugly about me, like just name calling, and like it feels like name calling is what I'm saying. And I don't think that people realize this. I think that is the importance of having this conversation, is that I think a lot of people don't realize that when you hate on someone's decision for their personal musical instrument, it's like saying that they're like pointing out pimples on their face, or you know what I mean, like things that you normally would never think of saying to people. When you say it like that about their instruments, it feels the same. It really digs, and it doesn't feel good. So I realized how personal that process is for me, and how much I cannot allow myself to put that out in the public. And so I never made a video about me ultimately buying a Nagahara Mini for myself. But yes, I have one. So it's kind of an unfortunate circumstance that happened, but I learned a lot from that experience. So I don't regret the experience, because I think it made me realize, sure, last stream, I talked about how I have lost my sort of like honeymoon phase passion for the flute and for the piccolo. I don't have that kind of like stars in my eyes sort of passion for it anymore, but it is my craft, and it is so much a part of me that it feels really normal. So even though I feel like that, I think it's that the flute and the piccolo are so much a part of me that when I get picked apart for my choices of what I choose to be part of me, it feels really bad. So I would much rather make reviews about instruments that I will not buy, that I can give much more objective observations about, right? I would rather my videos be more, I guess, educational and objective in that way, rather than saying I chose this because I like it for my own personal reasons, right? So, yeah. Hey, Junior Sobrino, how are you? Are the keys silver plated or solid silver on my Mateki? As far as I know, the whole thing is silver, including the keys, as far as I know. Now, if I talk to a flute technician who will ultimately overhaul this and they say otherwise, I would believe them over what I know about it. So yeah. So Blue Stingray, keep at it for a year. Yeah, keep at, but the thing is, you do realize that my online lessons, rules are there for a reason, right? I have experience trying to teach people online who don't have the prerequisites that I now require. It really is very tough to, properly teach things over like a online platform. It really is much better to have an in-person teacher at the very least in the first year. Also give them some business, give your local teachers some business. But yeah, so I do give online lessons. I pretty much only give online lessons. Yeah. Bourne's Carmen Fantasy. I think I actually studied that one. So if I'm correct, I believe I actually did the Bourne's Carmen Fantasy for my, it's like, you know, just like a fun part of one of my graduation recitals. I can't remember which one. David Kang, you want me to play what? Beethoven 9, the piccolo thing? Not today, man. Just gonna straight up say, I don't have that kind of energy today. My favorite movie, TV, or theater soundtrack has to be Lord of the Rings, 100%. Oh my gosh. The leitmotifs that they use throughout are very strategically done. And if you listen to how they use the soundtrack throughout the extended movies, very clever use of leitmotifs, themes popping in when you least expect them to, you know, that harken back to a certain other scene. It's just like so good. My favorite military wind band pieces, other than Lincolnshire Posy. What did I find interesting about how Lincolnshire Posy was written? So I found the, how do I say it? So Lincolnshire Posy is interesting because it is particularly demanding of both, like, of all the instruments. It's quite demanding, and you have to be pretty precise for it to come out right. Military band music sounds the best when it's crisp, when everything is clean and crisp. You really cannot afford to kind of muffle your way through, you know, or muddle your way through. And I think that's what I found interesting, was that you could have so much going on, and yet as the listener, you could still make sense of it if the people playing it played it completely crisply. Like, it had to be so clean the way you play it. Like, you cannot fake it, you know? And it's very clearly was written for the timbres that they were written for. So love it. But other than the Lincolnshire Posy, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not the most familiar with military wind band pieces. But like Lincolnshire Posy was sort of the highlight of the ones that I have studied. Like, that's the only one I remember, because I guess to me is the most interesting. Had some very interesting meter changes too, and like, it was really fun. It was fun and challenging. Yeah. So Jamie, you have no idea how to practice. So in your case, you would probably have to have someone actually looking at the stuff that you are practicing and then come up with a practice method for you that is tailored to you. So there's lots of different practice methods out there, but you kind of have to identify which one is the most appropriate for you to use. So unfortunately, I can't really respond that much to your issue here. It's more that, sure, if you practice it over and over again, and you're finding that it gets worse and worse, what I can say is that that's like saying the same word over and over and over again until it loses all of its meaning and you can't say it anymore. You know, it's like when you say it one word over and over and over, loses all of its meaning. And essentially, I'm wondering if you're accidentally doing that to the songs that you're practicing. So at a certain point, once you have got it, you should move on to something new. You know, once you have identified what you need to learn through those songs and you've learned them, learn something else. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yo, Kevin, how are you? Have I ever listened to Jethro Tull's Bourrée? I haven't. Thank you for letting me know. I will definitely go take a listen sometime. Melanie, you started looking at the exercises I recommended, the 17 Big Daily Exercises by Tafna and Gobert. Good stuff. Hey, Olga. Hey, Einstein. Oriana, do you ever feel like do you feel like traditional Chinese music, let's see. Sorry, I lost it for a second there. Give me a second to roll it back a bit. Okay, do you feel like traditional Chinese music speaks to you or makes you feel a certain way? Just how French music makes you feel like you're at home. Yeah, I would say so. There's like a weird sense of unfamiliarity and yet familiarity at the same time. You know, so yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if some of it is in my blood. Apparently, my grandfather played the flute a little bit. I just never knew until after he passed. So it could be in my blood, but we just don't know. Yeah. Any advice? Donovan Da Silva, hello. Any advice for a college student who wants to take up teaching in their off time? Just do it. You will learn on the job. I know it sounds terrifying to start, but if you can start, if you can reach out and put your stuff out there and see who bites, definitely try it. Now, the way that I did it was by siphoning all of my students to Saturday. So that way I could concentrate on getting all my schoolwork done during the week, and then I would basically work on Saturdays. So in terms of scheduling, I highly recommend that because it made it so that I didn't have to worry about meeting a student for a lesson and where do I meet the student for a lesson in the middle of the week when I'm stuck at school. You know, so in terms of scheduling and, you know, commute, teaching only on Saturdays really helped. So I no longer teach on Saturdays now because I now basically work 9 to 5. So if I were to also work on Saturdays, I would burn myself out so quickly. So yeah, I really need the weekends to rest and recover now. So yeah. Paul, I've heard of Charles Delaney, but I haven't heard of that piece. So I'm sure it's lovely though. Blue Stingray, no. You and if you wanted to join my studio, you would have to go through the application. I don't take students unless you go through the application, and you have to have 1 year experience. Trust me, that is from my experience. So no exceptions. And I have not made that exception for anyone. So yeah, you're in the same boat as everyone else, okay? That oboe, you got into the Interlochen Summer Arts Camp. It's a great camp. I've heard of it. Hey, Mir. Let's see. Do you feel like you stare at sheet music too long? Yes. Especially when you're organizing. If I were to play another instrument other than the flute and piano, what would it be? Probably, okay, if it was a string instrument, probably the cello. Yeah, I think that would be the one that I would try. Yeah. That one seems, it's just, I love the sound of the cello. Oh, yeah. Oh, I just got to the part where you guys are responding about me getting all that hate. Yeah. Yeah, I got hate, guys. The thing is, I know that most of you guys don't think the way that those people do. And in fact, someone very kind actually, you know, she spoke her mind saying like, hey, I thought you sounded better on the other one, but you know, it's your choice. It's no matter. I'm just putting in my input. She read other people's comments and then replied her own comment again to tell me, yo, hey, I'm seeing that you're getting a lot of hate for this. Like, please don't read my comment in the same in the same way as those comments, like, I'm so sorry you're getting this hate. So some people noticed that I got a lot of hate from it. So, yeah, it was, I think also a lot of people don't realize that I'm a real person, and that, like, I read the comments. So it's, yeah. Hey, Jay Cortez, how are you? Yeah. Hey, Chip, you don't have to apologize for those people. No. None of you have to apologize for those people. It's not you. I'm preaching to the choir right now, but I thought it might be good for you guys just to know that it happened, because I do know that there's a lot of mystery behind that right now, and has been for a while. Some of you know that I have a Nagahara Mini. A lot of you are confused as to why I never made a video about it. I've never been comfortable explaining why I haven't made a video about it. If I were to make a specific video only about that, unprompted by you guys, it would just sound like a whole bunch of complaining. And I don't want to sound like that, because I'm not complaining. It is what it is. And I would love to explain to you guys, and I have now explained to you guys why I haven't made a video about it. But yeah, you guys don't need to apologize for them. No. You guys don't need to apologize. I am 100% aware that I am preaching to the choir right now. So, yeah. Yeah. Strange questions, Jay Cortez. Ooh, I'm interested. What differences have I found between breathing while standing and seated? So you've gotten to the point where you almost can't play standing. That's interesting, because I have the opposite problem. So I find that it's much harder for me to breathe properly while sitting. So the main thing that people keep saying is that when you're standing, you're far less prone to slumping and slouching and slouching. So like when you slouch, you basically kind of turn your whole rib cage inward. It kind of caves inward a little bit. And so it could be that maybe for you, you've gotten used to this more slumped down way of breathing, that kind of how your lungs feels while doing that. You've actually maybe subconsciously gained some sort of breath control while playing like that. But it doesn't work like that when you're standing. When you're standing, you're much more open. So when you're much more open when you're standing, it could be that you've lost that, like, the how small the rib cage, how compacted your rib cage is. And because suddenly your rib cage is expanded, that could be the reason why suddenly you have no idea what to do with breath control. That's what I'm guessing is happening with you. That's what I'm guessing. Jane, I love that you remember that I did the Born Carmen fantasy for my master's. I thought it was my master's, but I couldn't really remember. I had a moment where I was like, wait a second. I don't remember which one I played it on. Yeah. So it takes a lot of core tightness for you to keep good posture when standing. It gets in the way of belly breathing. Yeah, see, like it's that, like, compact when you're sitting versus open when you're standing. Maybe it's when you're compacted when you're sitting, you understand more of what you're supposed to do with your body. But once that's opened up, it's as if you have nothing to grab onto. So it could be that maybe you need to split your practice session half sitting, half standing in a way to sort of transition yourself into a standing position that works. Yay, Melanie, you're almost done organizing. Excellent. Holst suites for band, Lisa is saying. I feel like I played some Holst, but I can't remember. But I do know that Holst is a fantastic military wind band composer. Yes. Lisa is absolutely on the dot here. I mean, Lisa was the one who sent me the orchestral excerpts volume 2. Lisa knows what she's talking about. Lisa's also a patron. So Lisa knows what she's talking about. L. Rain, thank you for your support. Don't undersell yourself as a teacher, even though many people, especially parents, will want you to. Absolutely. And you know what? I will just put this out there for any teachers who are watching. Yes, you need to do your research to see what makes sense to charge in your area. For me, my area is the whole world. Okay. So I'm what I charge is basically what, in terms of my research, tells me is right smack dab down the middle. So for some people, they will think that my rates are insanely expensive. And yet for some people, they will think that my rates are insanely inexpensive. So it really kind of depends on where you are. But I'm trying to keep it fair for everyone so that I'm not charging one person less, charging one person more for the same amount of time that I give them. You know, that's not fair. So, you know, how should we practice our scales? So what I would do is 2 to 3 scales a day. Make it through, rotate. So 2 to 3 different ones, major, which means that if you only did 2 a day, you would make it through all 12 in 6 days. Okay, take 1 day break. Then you go through your minors the same way. Natural minors, 2 a day, take a break. Melodic minor, or harmonic minor might be better. 6 days, take a break. And then another 6 days, melodic minor, take a break. So in 1 month, you will get through all of your scales. And then the next month you rotate back again, and you just keep rotating back like that. Okay. And it will only take you approximately 5 to 10 minutes a day. And that's all you need. Okay. But you have to be consistent about it. 5 to 10 minutes a day. You have to have that constant exposure to it. Now, can you get through it faster if you do 3 a day? Absolutely. Okay. Because if you do 3 a day, right, then a little bit faster. If you do 4 a day, even faster, right? So if you do 4 a day, you could make it through this whole thing in like 2 weeks. Okay. If you decide to do 6 a day, you can get through all of your scales in a week. Okay. So like that's how I suggest is like have a rotation going, and then every day just hit it for 5 to 10 minutes. Every day, 6 days a week, give the 7th day a break. Give your brain a break, basically. Come back to it another 6 days, break, 6 days, break. Basically like working out. You need to have a rest day. Yep. So, books though. 17 Big Daily Exercises by Tafnel and Gobert. It is very recently now on public domain, IMSLP. It used to be very expensive to buy. Get it on IMSLP. It just look up IMSLP, 17 Big Daily Exercises, Tafnel and Gobert. Done. Free. Public domain. Fantastic. Legal. It's great. Okay? Yeah. The whole having it in your blood thing is you with opera. Yeah, like, it's so weird, but it's true. There are some things that you just know are in your blood, you know? Is it talent? I guess it could be. But part of it, I somewhat wonder if it has to do with literal genetics, you know? Like maybe you have the genes to be predisposed to, or to have an inclination towards doing a certain thing, you know? Yeah. The Planet's Suite. Ah, yes, by Holst. Yeah. 100%. After 2 years break of playing the flute, do I have any support on how to come back? Hello, Stephanie. Welcome back to the Flute. First thing, you've got a nice little community here. So join a community. First thing, okay, is if I might do another shout out for Flute Zone. So look up Flute Zone Discord on Google. You will find a link on Reddit that will give you another link to their Discord server. They are a great little community run by one of my former students. Very helpful for each other, and great place to ask questions and receive some flute support. So join a community is the first thing. And then now, if it's 2 years break, probably some things are a bit rusty. So I would create a little practice plan, almost like a month-long challenge type of thing, So I would do like maybe a little bit of tone work, have a little bit of like a tone comeback thing. So for that, I would highly recommend harmonics, because harmonics will get your flute to teach you how it wants to be played. Okay. So I would do that, and then you go into some scales, review your scales and arpeggios in the way that I just mentioned earlier, do that little rotation, and then maybe have some like fun, cute etudes that sound like pieces. So Garibaldi, highly recommend the Garibaldi. They're really cute, but at the same time, you do learn things through them. So if you have like this little kind of like syllabus to work on, then that will help you get back on your feet a lot faster. But you really need to set up a plan for yourself. Be very specific on like every practice session. You have to know exactly what you're doing that day, right? From like, for an example would be, okay, I'm gonna do harmonics, Trevor Y, page 6, number 1 on C, and that's all I'm doing for harmonics. And then like, you see how specific this is? And then it's like, I'm going to play it 2 times, and if I really want to, then I'll play it a 3rd time, but no more than 3 times. Okay. Then it's like, okay, then I'm going to start out with my first 4 from C major to E flat major. We'll do 4 scales. So we'll do C major, F major, B flat major, E flat major, 2 octaves, right? So we're just going to practice that for like 10 minutes or so, okay? And then after that, you're going to be like, okay, and I'm picking Garibaldi, I don't know, Opus 132, number 1, and we're just going to work on the first 4 phrases, and just gonna work on that. And then like, you see how specific that is? Then the next day, what you'll do is like, rotate down from what you last left off. So the next day you would do page 6, but you would do maybe number 2 and number 3, right? On C. And then you would do the next 4 scales down. So you would do A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, which is B major. Okay. So you would do those 4, and then underneath, and then after that, you would do the next 4 phrases of the Garibaldi, number 1, Opus 132, something like that. The next day, and you see how you just keep rotating, you keep writing down exactly what you're going to be practicing. It's exactly like making a workout for yourself, but for the flute. You have to know what you're doing, how many reps you're doing. You need to take some breaks in between, get some water. Okay, it's a workout routine for the flute. So you have to write all that down. So that's the scheduling part. And you also want to schedule in when you're going to practice, exactly like how you think about when you're going to work out. Okay, so scheduling your workouts, scheduling your practice sessions, and then you got to do that thing that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, which is for motivation. It's not really motivation. It's how to keep yourself disciplined. You have to do that thing, typically a morning routine that will put you in a productive mindset. Okay. So put yourself in that productive mindset. For me, I have to spend like an hour to myself in the morning before I start doing any kind of work. It helps me like give some time to myself to visualize my day, figure out what I'm going to do. I feel like I have time to prep for the day. For me, the best way to do this is to go for a walk. Right now is maybe not the best time in history to go out for a walk all the time. But I still have been taking an hour to myself in the morning, So that's how I would do it. do something to put yourself in a productive mindset. Make sure you schedule out your practice sessions as if they're workouts. Be very detailed on what you're going to do each practice session. So once you get into a practice session, there is no question as to what you're doing. You just go right into it. All right. So I hope that helps. Yeah. You guys are so sweet. I know that you guys would hate hearing about the hate, which is why I didn't really talk about it much. But since you guys asked about the Nagahara Mini, I feel like I kind of have to come clean about it, you know? How do you get motivated to play pieces of repertoire that are important but that you do not like? You can't enjoy the Mozart concertos. Okay, here's how I think of it. I think of it as like, okay, this is just the flute education part, okay? So it's like, learn the notes, learn how to play them expressively for that era, and if you can do those two things, then drop it. Okay? Like, you know, like, and again, be very, like, specific about which section of the concerto you are practicing for a specific session. If you know exactly and you've written down exactly which section you're practicing, you're more inclined to be like, okay, I know I'm only practicing this section today. I don't have to waste too many brain cells just trying to get to that section. So I'll just learn this section and be done with it after like 10-15 minutes, you know? So like really it's just time yourself 10-15 minutes every day to work on that piece just for the sole purpose of flute education, and then drop it. Okay? So yeah. Also, the third movement is way less overplayed. I agree with Lisa. So I also have more of a fondness for the third movements of both of the Mozart concertos than I do for the first movement. And simply because the first movements are just way too overplayed. Because they're played for like auditions and stuff like that, you know? Yeah. And also agree with Lisa again about changing out your head joint for a mirror, because you know you're feeling that your flute is holding you back. Also agree with Lisa. If you change out your head joint, it can make a huge difference, and it's way less money for an upgrade. Yeah. When we support our Airstream, is the stomach supposed to get bigger or smaller? Kind of depends on what you're going for, really. I find that when I am just trying to support the like intonation, the tuning, the just keeping it level, I find myself pushing outward, which essentially the stomach gets bigger. If I am supporting the Airstream for the purpose of elongating the elongating the length of my Airstream for as long as possible. So for example, if I'm playing something ridiculous like 32 bars of a note going really, like 32 beats of a note going really, really slow, then I find myself doing the opposite, which I find myself pushing inward as if I'm kind of like engaging my core inward, if that makes sense. So to be completely honest, I find myself doing both, but for different reasons. I don't know if some of you guys do the same thing as me. I haven't broached this topic very much with my own students yet, but it's just something I've noticed about myself, is that like if I'm specifically supporting myself to see how long I can go, I go inward. But if I'm going more for intonation purposes, blah, 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 the stability of the sound, I push outward more. Yeah. Someone's asking me about the Ibert concerto. Abraham, it's a good music education audition piece for college, probably and beyond. The Ibert is difficult, man. It's hard. Yeah, absolutely. It would be very impressive. So if you want to, go ahead. What do I recommend for excerpts? Daphne and Chloe. Daphnis and Chloe. Midsummer Night's Dream, Afternoon of a Faun, and the Beethoven ones are very well known, like the Eroica stuff. Yeah. Yep. See, Lisa's got it down. The bear would be impressive, but probably more than an education major needs. Yep. Way more. Like not even all performance majors will do the e-bear. Should you start learning repertoire for college as a sophomore? If you can, yes. Go ahead. You will always benefit from having a larger repertoire. Always. So if you want to, do it. Yeah, and Density 21.5, great piece. It's so weird and I freaking love it. Do you guys know what Density 21.5 is? The density of platinum is 21.5, and I don't know what the units are because I am not a math or science person. But that's why it's called Density 21.5, is because it was written for a platinum flute. I believe. Lisa, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Oh yeah, Ian Clark is a good one. Yes. Ian Clark is a great one. Love it. Yay for finishing, Melanie. Hey, Jez, you're just here listening to me in the background. I love it. I am down for it, man. I am so down for it. All right, so this is great timing, guys. I've gotten right to Daphnel plus Tafnel equals Daphnel equals Tafnel plus Daphnis. I love it. That's great. So I've gotten to the end of the questions magically in about an hour, just over an hour. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is take a little break. So about 5-minute break. I'm just going to finish up my coffee, rinse out my mouth, get some more water, and then let's do a little bit of playing, okay? So, you know, what's just another flutist stream without some flute playing, you know? So I will be back. Just give me a sec to freshen up, and we'll do some flute playing. See you in, I can't speak. See you in a bit. Hello, I'm back. I also refocused the camera so it could be a little bit, like I could stand a little bit further back. So yes, I'm standing now because we're going to be playing the flute now. This is now water. I've rinsed out my mouth. We're good to go. Got my flute here. Okay. So, let's also turn up the room microphones so that I'm gonna sound boomier now in terms of spoken voice, but the flute's gonna sound a lot better. So I'm just gonna dive right into what people want to hear. So going from our continued list from last time and the time before, someone wanted to hear the Opus Anderson Etude Opus 15 number 3. So I'm not sure why specifically this one, but I guess we'll see why. So Anderson Opus 15, we're gonna look that up on IMSLP just so I can put it up here. Yeah, this one looks right. So we'll need to wait a little bit. And let me see what you guys are saying. I'm just gonna like move this over here. Yeah, your brother plays trumpet. So the fun thing about my brother was that he always played brass music, you know, in his room, and I hung out in his room a lot. So I became actually more familiar with brass music than I did with woodwind music. Isn't that funny? Okay, so let's look at number 3. Oh, of course. I knew it was going to be one of these. I was like, it must be one of those ones that like melodically make absolutely no sense. So for those of you guys who are wondering, this is the Anderson 24 Etudes Opus 15 number 3. This is going at dotted quarter equals 69. So let's see how this is going. Okay, so. Oh, no, that's the whole bar. That's fast. So I studied this before, but this was a long time ago. So I'm going to take it kind of slow. And then maybe we can see if we can do it faster later. How does that sound? Yeah? Okay. So. Oh, I did do that right. So do you hear where I'm making all the mistakes? Those would be the parts that you have to memorize. Just so you know, if you're working on this, all those parts that you're tripping up on, you have to memorize every single one of those because you have to play them intentionally for them to work. And as you can see, I'm not making them work. So anyway, okay, so did I skip a line? I feel like I did. It all looks the same. I'm gonna back up to the third line. D sharp there. Okay, scrolling, because this is a 2-page etude. Oh, A sharp. I'm adding a note. Oh, right. I'm adding a note going too high. Scrolling, one more line. There is a typo in here, isn't it? I think the last E is supposed to be a D. Yeah, so yes, you can work at a grocery store at age 15. I believe you need parental permission to do that. At least in the States, that's the way it is. But you can. Yeah, you absolutely can. What are some people's grudges against Dijau flutes? I don't know. I don't know. It could just be that those flutes didn't work for them, and so they think that they're bad flutes. This tends to happen for a lot of people. You know, if you play badly on a flute, you tend to assume that that flute is bad. You know, so. But that is not the case, as you guys know. So anyway, whoever requested this, I am sorry that I butchered it really badly, but just know that all the parts that I messed up on would be parts that if I were practicing this, I would memorize those parts so that I could just, you know, play it more fluently. Now that's only playing it more fluently. This thing is supposed to go really fast, okay? It's supposed to go, 1 bar is at 69, and 1 bar has 9 notes. Yes, indeed. So you're supposed to stash 9 notes in that. You get my drift? Now, in my opinion, there is so much going on in here. You kind of have to memorize the whole thing to be able to go that fast. Okay? So my suggestion is take it section by section, memorize little bits by little bits, maybe split it up in like 5 or 6 different sessions to memorize different sections, and then start stitching them together in the weeks after that, and then basically see if you can go that fast from memory. It's a lot easier to go that fast from memory. Okay. The other thing that will make this easier is an understanding of harmonic progression. So when I'm reading this, I'm actually reading chords. What chords are they? What type of chords are they? Based on what this chord is, what must the next chord be? Sometimes I predicted that incorrectly, which resulted in mistakes. So there you go. That's kind of my input on that. Hope you don't mind how I played it. I will be the first one to tell you guys that was a right butchering of this. Okay, so let's look at what we have next on here. So I'm actually just going to turn these all into little check boxes so I know which ones I've done. Okay. So I did that. Okay, so people now want to hear stuff I've played before. So this isn't sight reading anymore. But let's do the Mozart Concerto, because someone asked me to play it. And why not? Mozart Concerto in G. And I'm going to see if I can find the version that I like playing out of. So let's see here for flute and, oh no, let's see. So there are cadenzas. Ooh, that might be interesting to switch to a cadenza as well. If I go to scores. Okay, which version is it? Yeah, so this is the version that I'm used to. So I'm just going to take a look at that one. Gonna let that download. You're thinking of finding a job so you can buy your own clarinet. Do it. I can tell you. So I didn't save up to buy this flute. I was far too young. I was like 11 or 12. But what I did save up to buy was my first MacBook Pro, so that I could do video editing and stuff like that. And that costs essentially $2,000. I, worked for it. And let me tell you, you take much better care of your belongings, your expensive belongings when you have earned them. So it's great. I highly recommend that because you learn the value of maintaining and taking care of your instruments or your equipment by earning them. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. So there is the concerto, and I'm just going to try out Tafnel. Tafnel cadenzas, because I don't think I've ever tried them before, so that might be really fun. This part will be sight reading for me, so that should be pretty darn cool. I've never really chosen for myself, chosen a cadenza. It was always sort of photocopied and given to me by my teachers, which thank God they did that because I apparently had no idea how to even begin looking for them. So, but I've never actually chosen one for myself. So this might be a good opportunity for me to basically read through some cadenzas. Yeah, but to give you guys a little bit more context, why don't we play through it? So here we go. This is Concerto in G by Mozart. it up there with the high F sharp, kind of sounding like it's spitting. So the way high notes behave on this flute is very different from how they behave on mine. And my other one, that is. So my other one, I was playing that the way I would play it on that one, which does not sound nice on this. So for this one, I have to kind of like pivot my my airstream direction so that the beginning of it dips downward into my mouth. So I'm gonna try it again, and you guys should be able to hear the difference. Did you hear the difference, right? That high F sharp sounds a lot better now. So I'm still kind of getting used to how this flute likes to play. It's been a hot minute since I've played this flute, but I'm better at it now than I was earlier this week. So there's that. Anyway, let's keep going. But let's take advantage of the fact that we are not playing right now and scroll. So there we go. Okay. I should have started it from above. What do you guys think? Also, I dipped the back of my airstream downward more. Also sounds better that way. Let's scroll. Sorry, guys. Keep scrolling. Oh, my fingers don't want to move. Hard to keep reminding myself to do this with my airstream. It's very distracting. Okay. how I feel. So I think some people only trill their ring finger there, but I cannot really reliably do it. So I think I've always done it like this. I think it actually sounds better if you only do the ring finger though. So let's try that. All right, we're almost there. Okay, so if we go to the cadenza, let's see. Interesting. Da 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 dee da da. This is the most harmonically out there cadenza that I've read and listened to. Okay, Tafnell. Okay. Okay, Tafnell. Okay. I think that's a B. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Tafnell. So he goes into like E flat major. He goes into D major, then E flat major, then C minor, and then he like does all this crazy stuff. It definitely sounds very French, does it not? It sounds very Tafnell. How interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay. A little out of place in my opinion. Very beautiful, but a little bit out of place. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Hi, Ariana. Have I ever played a monkey or monkey? I don't know how to say it. Head joint with a wooden lip. I haven't yet. I have heard beautiful things about the monkeys though. So I know that they're a great company, but no, I haven't tried their instruments yet. Yeah. A long trill doesn't necessarily mean the cadenza is over. Maybe with third or fourth trill. Yeah, this was a little out there, man. Like that was I don't know. I don't know if I would choose to like. It would be fun to learn. I think it would be really fun to like have it in my arsenal of cadenzas. That might be really fun to like get under my fingers. You know, like you guys heard me tripping up all over it. You know. Can I play the cadenza from Andante and Scherzo by Gone? You know what? If we're gonna do that, we're gonna play the whole Gone. Okay, so I'm gonna add that to our list here. Gone. Andante et Scherzo. You can't just play the cadenza and that's it for the Gone. No. You gotta have the whole context, man. So I'm just going to say that Mozart Concerto in G is done. I know we've only done the first movement, but we really should find other stuff, eh? So I'm gonna see if there's like a Lincolnshire posy, like flute excerpts somewhere. Ooh, I found it. Let's do some Lincolnshire posy. So this one is Sailor's Song. Yeah, this looks familiar. Yeah. Is that G flat? Yes. Cute, right? I want to do it again. Cute, right? Pastore Svizzero? Yo, guys, I'm going through the entire Lincolnshire posy. Don't worry, guys. So the miser and his man. I think I remember this. way to nothing. Let's see. Oh, sorry. The Last Rose by Cool Out. I've heard of that one. Adding it to the list. Let's see. So, oh, I've heard of the Hungarian Serenade. I had a student working on that one. So just so you guys know, I have to go in like 18 minutes. So, you know, I only have so much time. But we'll get to what we can get to. Yo, this Lincolnshire pose is like super nostalgic for me. Oh, Piccolo! Piccolo solo. Oh, I remember doing this. Okay, I'm just gonna play it on the flute. I'm too lazy to pick up my piccolo. About 132. I forget exactly. So. Oh, I remember this. That is a typo. 100% is a typo. I'm sorry, guys. One more time. One more time. That's a typo. That is a typo. It's not an E flat. It has to be a C. Yeah. So some. Yeah. All good stuff. Oh, I'm not sure how much of that is like really melody. So we're gonna skip to the pick part again. So. Okay, brisk young sailor. 92. But yeah, I remember this. You can tell which parts I remembered and which parts I don't. Okay. So it's the second part that I don't remember. Oh gosh. I wonder if maybe I should have learned this with alternate fingerings and I didn't. So I just left my index finger down. I think that's how I would do that now. I definitely didn't do it. I can tell that like the way that my fingers want to go, it's like, oh, this is very inefficient. And I feel like that's the way I used to do it. Very, very inefficient. Yeah, I would have. Like right there too. I would do like a weird, because it's supposed to go really fast. It should go so fast that you can't really hear the tuning. So I would probably nowadays go. Yeah, I would do just straight up harmonic. I would do harmonics. I would do the harmonics all the way up. So yeah. So in case you guys are wondering, I would do harmonics all the way up that. So, and leave your index finger down. closer. Yeah. So that's what I would do right there. Yeah. Anyway, we're done that part. Okay. You guys know that part? It's like, it's very like, right there. So we don't play a lot in Lord Melbourne. It's a lot of kind of backgroundy stuff, but there is a pick solo. Oh, sorry. It's two. Okay. So the other stuff, meh. Lost Lady Found. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Oh, love it. I've always loved this part. Oh. Yeah, okay. So you're doing background stuff. Don't you love it? Oh, I love it. Okay, so that part, it's I was doing it very inefficiently, I think, when I was younger. So don't do what I used to do and play it with all like correct fingers. Just do like a bunch of harmonics to do that bit there in that fourth movement there. Okay, I think we have time for one more. So Syrinx is a good one. So I have the music for that here. So let's just do this. Just gonna have it right here. Maybe I should actually have my trusty desk stand out. Okay. Hi, Chris, my friend IRL. I see your message. It didn't blip, but it made my phone light up. Okay, anyway. So, Syrinx by WC. All right, let's see what I make of it. There we go. Ooh, I haven't looked at this in a very long time. There it is. Sorry. Second here. Is this going to be the end of the stream? Probably. We've got 2 minutes. Right, Chris, you said nothing. So there were wrong notes in there, so please don't use my my rendition here as reference material. Please don't. Okay. But it's fun. I do love it. I wish that I memorized it. Because I think I would play it with more conviction, you know? All right. Still got like a minute. Let's start the Born's Carmen Fantasy. There it is. Yeah, good times. F sharp. Oh, goodness. I memorized this. It would have made it so much easier. Like, you see me like sight reading this again? Oh my gosh, feels bad. Did someone do this on a simple system 19th century flute? Oh, that's what you call a beast. Oh, beast mode, that's great. And will I be live on Twitch later? Yes, I will be. I will be indeed. So let's, in our next sight reading session, so like tomorrow, let's continue with this. Yeah, we'll do the same thing as today. We'll start out. The first half of it is going to be just chatting, coffee chat with you guys. And then we'll continue this. And we have a nice little list going. We've got Carmen Fantasy, the Born Carmen Fantasy. We've got the Gone. Someone mentioned Pastore Svizzero. I have not heard of that one, I feel. So I'm going to see if I can find the music for it. If I can't, I'm sorry. Someone mentioned the Last Rose, and then someone else mentioned the Hungarian Serenade. So that gives us a nice little body of work to look at tomorrow. So these, okay, you guys, I'm not actually performing for you guys, just so you know. So please do not use any of this as your reference material. Sure, you can probably take some of my, tips and advice on how I would practice it if I had the time to, but don't use my actual playing as reference, please. Please don't. Okay, I'm just doing this for fun. This is just me fooling around. Okay, so anyway, I need to go. So thank you, you guys. You guys are fantastic. You guys are so lovely and encouraging. So thank you for that. I need to go. Wow, my keys are like, I've been playing so much, it's leaking out of my keys. Okay, I better clean that up before my next lesson. So I need to go because I need to prep for my next lesson. And if you want to see me live again, I will be on Twitch after I teach my lessons. So it will be in approximately an hour and 25 minutes. I will be on Twitch. So if you want to see me again, if you want to hang out again, over there, I'm going to be practicing the E-Bear. So yeah, that will be very interesting to practice the E-Bear after a day of work. I am interested to see how I respond to that. So I'll see you guys over on Twitch. If not over on Twitch, I'll see you guys tomorrow here on YouTube again, same time. All right? See you later, guys. I love you very much. Please stay happy, healthy, and safe. Wash your hands very often. Don't touch your face while you're out in public. Please practice social distancing, but at the same time, please reach out to people and talk to people virtually. That was another reason why I made this live stream a thing, was so that you guys would have people to talk to. Okay, so reach out, guys. It's very important. This is how we survive as humanity. Okay, we survive as a community. So love y'all very much. See you later today or tomorrow.